Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
$11:01 on a Thursday. What's going on, everybody? Thank you very much for joining us here on The Lock Shop. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, as our live sports talk coverage continues here in Edmonton on the TuneIn app at edmontonsportstalk.com, and, of course, over on YouTube as well. And we got a busy slate in the National Hockey League tonight, that's for sure. Hus is going to pop by. We'll dive into the NHL last night. Obviously, the big game last night in the National Hockey League was the Bruins and the Oilers. And for the casual NHL viewer, that would have been a pretty good game to get to. $780-218-9999. And, of course, and how good was the hangout today here on Edmonton Sports Talk? That was absolutely, that was awesome. And there's a lot of laughs. I don't know if we've had, I'm going to put it in the mix for an Esty. It's that simple. I think today's hangout is in there for an Esty. Let me bring up the Esty file here. I'm going to slot it in. I don't know exactly where she's going to go, but I'm going to slot it in here. Let's see here. Episode. Let's go Ron Lowe on Hangout. It's in there. We got Stoff on Vegas in the Hangout. Stoff in Vegas on the Hangout. And Fraser Millard on the Hangout. That was a real good one. Those two guys are going back and forth like crazy. If you are watching live on YouTube right now, make sure you chime on in the nasty chat with your favorite plays of the day. And like I said, you can text us 780-218-9999. I had more games on a Wednesday night in the National Hockey League last night than we usually get our hands on. Not a huge slate by any stretch of the imagination. But Washington, the 6-2 win over New Jersey. That's going back a couple of nights. Minnesota lost to Winnipeg. Colorado beat Vancouver. Some of these factor back into tonight's slate, obviously, with some teams getting back in it. Vancouver, for example, has lost 3 in a row. We're going to dive into that one as well. Spency 5 cents, he says, we've been so close, but no cigar with these EST parlays. Next time. There's always next time, right? There's always. I thought we got hosed last night, though. I thought for sure, we had the McDavid points. We had the Hyman point. I should have got greedy and went Hyman goal. I mean, that would have helped that number even more. And then when they get the power play late in the third, and knowing how power play in overtime has ended for the Oilers as of late, I was just looking at it going, Bouchard is either winning this thing or he's setting up the winner. And the Oilers are going to win. We're going to cash the money line. We're going to get the Bouchard point. And all of the ESTers are going to be living their best life with the Lock Shop. Unfortunately, that did not happen. That was extremely disappointing. But a hell of a hockey game, that's for sure. Last night, Montreal losing to Buffalo 3-2. Philadelphia still third in their division. Philadelphia beating Chicago 3-1. The Blue Jackets dropped 7 on the Ducks. Ducks cannot keep a puck out of their own net. Austin Matthews gets not 1, but 2. We were talking about the over 1.5 yesterday on the goals, paying plus 330 or whatever it was. And then Boston in a wild one against Edmonton, 6-5 in overtime. Pretty good hockey game there. We'll break that down. Big slate in the National Hockey League tonight. We'll dive into that. We'll put together a little parlay. Enough games tonight at the Nasty Chat. Wanted to throw together a little parlay. I'm sure you guys can as well, as more of you trickle on in here today. And we'll take a look at the Mexico Open. Some good, some not so good for us so far. But let's bring in Hus from Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up at noon Edmonton time, 1 o'clock Winnipeg time today. You can find Hus every single day there, Monday to Friday. And, of course, here with us on the Lock Shop on Edmonton Sports Talk. Hus, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Felt like I was in the penalty box there for a
You're
minute.
waiting to get in.
Waiting for my 5-minute major to expire, and I was able to come out. What a hockey game last night there in Edmonton.
It was something else, buddy.
That was bananas.
Yeah, the Oilers did not play well. What did we say yesterday? I said second periods or disaster.
Period.
Again. Like, again, second period was awful. Luckily, they're a pretty good team, and they can actually kind of turn things up in the third. Then Pasternak buries one to get Boston back the lead. Then Hyman gets one for the Oilers. And then it goes to overtime. They have the power play. Van Riemsdyk's got the breakaway coming out of the box. Can't bury it. Draisaitl had a great freaking look on the power play. Swayman made a huge save. And then Evander Kane, for some reason, doesn't chase down an icing, heads off instead, has to stay out. They get stuck out there, and McLeod and King get scored on in overtime, and Boston comes away with the win. But my goodness, like I was saying, like we talked about it last night, not a great slate of games. We had games, which was nice, but not a great slate. All eyes were on Boston and Edmonton, and from a neutral observer point, must have been a hell of a game to just sit back and enjoy.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I was on a McDavid goal, so.
I know.
When the game got tied up and was going to OT and they had that power play, I'm like, this is going to be perfect. This is going to be like what better way for this game to end than with 97 winning it in 3-on-3 or 4-on-3
to cash it from Bouchard. For me, that would have been perfect.
Yeah, well, I know that you were leading on that too, which is entirely possible when those guys are off and out and doing that. But man, it was just fun. I mean, if you didn't even have any skin in the game and you wanted to stay up late and turn that thing on, you certainly were entertained. I do have to give a shout out to Austin Matthews because I did bet that over 1.5 yesterday, and that made it a very positive night. And I got a shout out Spency. I think it was Spency 5 Centsy. Was he the one that dropped the Vetrano in the chat yesterday?
He was. Yes, that was Spency 5 Centsy.
So the Vetrano point cashed at minus 130. I did put a little extra sprinkle on 2 at plus 320, and I was hoping for a stat correction through most of the third period. It didn't happen.
Oh, nothing like the classic D-Gen hoping for a stats correction. I love
it. Well, I mean, Anaheim stinks. I mean, they gave up 3 in the third period to Columbus and lost to a team that is going. I mean, that was 2 teams that were going nowhere. I didn't watch a second of that game. I wonder how many people in Anaheim actually showed up for a Wednesday night game between the Ducks and Blue Jackets as they both focus in on draft lottery simulations. But overall, it was a fun night, much better than the normal Wednesdays. And as I say, the other games were sort of whatever. We got in a few props, but Boston and Edmonton absolutely delivered. We called it the main event all day, and that'll be a game that fans will be talking about for a long time. Provided
us with a ton of content. Like after the second period, the fact that the Oilers got a point out of it, I think people kind of have to be happy with. But it's the same thing. Like penalty kill allowed a goal. Boston went 1 for 2 on the power play. The second period was awful. Skinner wasn't great. Evander Kane in overtime. People were angry with Knobloch because he didn't call a timeout after the power play to keep McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice in overtime. So it was a real whirlwind. And Boston's interesting because they came into that game missing a couple of defensemen, lost a defenseman in the game, so they were rolling with 5 basically the entire time, and managed to kind of hang in there and hang on and eventually get the dub. It was a great game.
Yeah. I was just looking and I saw Dennis Bernstein put this out last night saying the race for second in the Pacific is going to be wild. And I kind of noticed that the Kings are only 2 points back of Edmonton and are actually now winning some games.
Yeah, they've won. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10.
Edmonton, it is just nuts when you think that they've had a 17-game winning streak and a 8-game winning streak.
It was 8 and then 16. Yeah, 24, 26. 24 or 27 when it was all said and done.
We had 33 wins in the entire year.
Yeah.
They've had 9 wins outside of those 2 streaks this season, which is nuts. Oh, by the way, I had to bring this up. Have you guys been talking about, or is there any chance you guys are going to pool, get $500 together amongst EST to get a follow on Instagram from Evander Kane?
Wait, charging for follows on Instagram?
You too can be followed by Evander Kane.
Come on,
for the low
really?
Price,
is that a thing?
For the low price of $500. And if you do want a video message, he'll scrape one out for you for $1,200. Well, it's good to see
$500 for a follow?
Hey,
who's going to pay $500 to have somebody else follow them on Instagram? Where did you see this? How did I not see this yet? Did this just come out or what?
I will send this to you. And as I said, any other player in the league, I'd think, oh, this is obviously not true. Evander's a totally different story. This is
he's a little bit of a different cat for sure. But man, Kane's been interesting because at the beginning of the year, he was one of their most consistent players. Then he was going through some injuries, wasn't playing well, kind of heated up a little bit again. And then yesterday in overtime, just not a great overtime period for him. They kind of elevated him a bit because Nugent Hopkins was sick yesterday, and it didn't necessarily work out. So if you're watching on YouTube, hey, tell your friends about the Lock Shop. We got a nice little community here. Speaking of communities, Hus, are you familiar with Discord?
Of course. We got the WST Discord is banging 24 hours a day.
Okay, so I was not very familiar with Discord. Somebody yesterday fired up like an Edmonton Sports Talk Discord. And like all the channels within the channel and stuff, it's great. There is one of them in there, #CoolBet. And we got a bunch of the the lock shoppers sliding in there yesterday, and they nicknamed it the DGen Den, which I really like. They like the cool bets thing on the EST Discord channel. It was referred to as the DGen Den, which you got to work with a little bit. But yeah, there's a few comments over there as well. So if you are on Discord, I don't even know how to share it. Like I'm so new to Discord. I wasn't even sure how to properly share it with people, but I'll have to get it out there. So you guys, Discord, WST Discord.
Did you guys start that yourselves?
No, HP Mama, I think. Is that who started? She said she'd add me as a mod. Yeah, HP Mama is the one who started it. And yeah. Anyway, it's fun. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, you will find. Yeah, well, we should definitely DGen Den or Lock Shop link or whatever. We can go in there and
that's a good one too. Yeah,
chat it up with folks. There's all sorts of wild and again, I'm not on it as much. Remus is on it all the time, but we've seen. I mean, you've got the nasty chat. Our chat is bananas pretty much from start until finish of every show. Afterwards, people go there, but where people are
to
actually
continue the conversation,
it's during games, because
we're
not live during that time. That's where all the chatters end up hanging out. So, ESTers, if you haven't already, download Discord and join it. You'll be able to continue all the hijinks of the nasty chat at any time you like with other interested ESTers. It's something that's really, really grown. I was sort of similar to you. I'm like, you guys want to do that? Sure, sounds good. I mean, it's never a bad thing to have more people involved and doing some other things on this. But overall, it is just driving more engagement with it. By the way, congrats on 7K. Nicely
thanks,
done.
Thanks, buddy. YouTube Trev set a goal. He's like, we got to track down WST. I said they're way ahead of us. What are you talking about? But 7,000. It was a nice milestone. It was a nice milestone. Which was great. Obviously, you can listen to us on TuneIn and sportstalk.com as well. But we do have a lot of fun over on YouTube for sure. So it's been a fun journey. We're only 6 months in. So we'll see where it continues to go. I'm looking forward to the NHL playoffs, bumping up both the WST and EST channels. And boy, I tell you, if we get that Winnipeg Edmonton series, man, lights out. I can't wait. That'd be great.
Listen, if somehow the gods smiled upon us to give us that, I mean, we would need to put our heads together and basically do shows like your show and our show, and in between
a crossover,
whether it be the Lock Shop, or we do a special hangout or whatever that has people from both sides or something like that. Speaking of which, I know the hangout is a live show. At some point, I'm going to need to make a trip into Edmonton.
Yes, you are.
And and that'll be a nice little lead in.
It'd be great. Shop. Yeah, we'll get you out here, buddy, for sure. That would be. I'll talk to HR Daddy, see if we can spring for a flight. We'll get you out here. You can sleep in my basement, and everything will be fine. Hang out with Marshall and the Muzz in the morning. It'll be good. Take him to school.
Yeah, hey, for sure, for sure.
You know, the best part
that's
is you could be walking them up to school. There'd be some dad there who'd be like, "Hey, Hus, lock shop, love it." That'd be great.
Well, I still remember. I mean, that game of the that game where we high fived as you came off the plane to Winnipeg, and I jumped on the plane to Edmonton in October for the game.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of people that came up and said, "Hustler, what are you doing here?"
Yeah.
It was all from your channel. I'm just looking right now. We're just about at a little milestone as well.
You're almost to 11, aren't you?
Yeah, we're just about at 11 right now. And obviously, you get the big bump right off the bat.
Yeah. Then you grind it out.
You certainly did. You guys have had, but I mean, the amount of content you guys are doing, and again, it all comes down to the consistency of doing it each and every single day. More and more people are finding you guys, and I'm sure you're finding more people are finding you from outside of Edmonton as well. I mean, I saw those. Where were those people at the game at yesterday? They were ESTers from
Illinois. They were in from Illinois. Oilers fans out of Illinois, so we hooked them up with they'd ordered like some stuff. So Maddie got the gear to them yesterday, which was kind of cool. That was good. Yeah, no, it's fun. This is a fun. What we're doing here is fun. Lock Shop, WST, EST. It's a good time.
It's a lot more fun when we win.
Yeah, but that's true. That's true. But that's what I wanted to talk about Austin Matthews a little bit, man. Like, I know you already mentioned we gave him a shout out, but I mean, this is I did. We have a segment on the Nielsen show called "I Says Pardon," and it's for a lawyer who does pardons, and apparently a lot of people need pardons, so it's working out pretty well. But I dove into the Austin Matthews thing a little bit today, and obviously Edmontonians aren't like, Dusty, you're talking too much. And I have always been the anti-Toronto guy, kind of anti-Matthews guy. But today I was defending him from some haters because 51 goals in 54 games. Like, if you go back to 2009, Hus, he would have already won, I think it's 10 of the last 14 Rocket Richards with the 51. Like, that's enough. It would have won it. 3 guys had 60+. One other guy, Ovechkin, won it with 53 one year. Outside of that, 51 will usually win you the Rocket, and it's not even the end of February. He's already there. He's on pace for 76. Only 4 times have somebody scored more than 76 in the history of the National Hockey League. It's ridiculous. Like, this guy is just absolutely torching the National Hockey League from a goal-scoring perspective right now.
He truly, and again, like, listen, I mean, you're talking about Edmonton hating Toronto and whatnot, specifically with Matthews. I mean, being here in Winnipeg, and it was Matthews Laine going 1-2 in the draft. Yeah. I mean, we have been maybe the number one anti-Matthews market in the league since the day he put a Leaf jersey on at the draft. I have to agree with you. He's having a historic season, but on top of all that, he is honestly a generational goal scorer. I mean, there are very few guys that are in his class right now. And again, McDavid's the best player, and I don't think there's any debate about that right now on the planet. But as far as scoring, Matthews is getting better at it. And he was great the day that he stepped into the game. And the way that he can change his angles, his release, and, with some experience, I think you understand more about what it takes to score goals in the NHL. And what he's doing right now is just incredible. Here's a trivia question for you, and I'll put this out to the chat.
Okay.
Go looking. So Matthews got 51 last night. Do you know who number 2 is in the NHL in goals this year right now?
Oh, I do. It's because I looked this morning, so I kind of cheated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chat, we'll give you a second to throw this out.
Going to hit 50 too. I mean, he's going to hit 50 unless he really slows down. But
yeah, and his team's on an absolute monster heater as well. Sam Reinhart.
Wow, that's crazy. The guy who was drafted just ahead of Leon Draisaitl. Now putting up, like, I don't know, maybe Sam Reinhart is just kind of hitting where he was projected to be. Like, maybe that's what it is.
It didn't. The Buffalo fans, this is another guy that goes somewhere else, and, they have to plug their nose and watch him do so well. I don't even think did they get a first-round pick for him back?
What did he move for? Let me, I want to look that up. That's a great question. By the way, I see Jake in the nasty chat said, "Hey, I thought this was Edmonton sports talk, not Toronto sports talk." And Jake, all I can say is, remember when you picked the Kings to win and they lost 7-0? Tough look, Jake. Tough look.
Jake, listen, this is the Lock Shop, and you should be happy in case you missed it, was giving props to your guy, Matthews, because over 1.5 goals last night against the Coyotes. Thank you very much. Cash it. Even with McDavid's close call and not getting the play of the day, we ended up.
They did get a first rounder for Reinhart. They got Levi, the goalie, and a first rounder for Sam Reinhart. So pretty good trade. But like Reinhart, his last year in Buffalo, he had 40 points in 54 games. Prior to that, it was 50, 65, it was 50. Then he came to Florida, hit 82 and 78 in his first year, had 33 goals. Then had 67 in 82 last year, had 31 goals. And now he's got 39 goals in 56 games. He already has 67 points, which was his total last year. He was minus 12 last year. He's plus 18 this year. But since he's gone to Florida, he's been an automatic 30 Hus. So obviously he's fitting well with what they've built down there.
Well, he's going to get 50. And you know what else he's going to get? A shitload of money in the offseason because he's an unrestricted free agent. And I mean, I'm looking at their team right now. They've got long-term commitments. $10 million a year to Barkov, $9.5 million to Matthew Tkachuk. There's another year left on Ekblad's deal at $7.5 million, although a lot of their blue line is going to be off the books or at least UFAs. Like, they're definitely going to want to keep Brandon Montour, I would imagine. OEL, whatever about that. Kulikov, $1 million, that's fine. And then you've got $10 million on the books for Bob, who's had a good season. Like, if Sam Reinhart scores 50, which it certainly looks like he's going to, that number for Reinhart is going to be pushing 8 figures a year.
Oh, yeah.
That's his one big deal. I mean, what is he right now? He's 28 years old.
This is it. This is the big one.
This is the time you sign that contract. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting. I mean, I know he probably wants to stay in Florida. I mean, it's a great place to play. The team is awesome. He's having the greatest success of his career. But what is available to him for other teams, from other teams, is going to be really interesting to see in the off season. Big game tonight. Speaking of the Panthers, Panthers Hurricanes tonight. Just before we get to that, though, let's take a quick look at what's happening at the Mexico Open.
Yeah, I was looking at it a little bit earlier on. The Gim Reaper.
The Gim Reaper is in the house. Oh, he had another birdie. Beautiful. He's 2 shots off the lead. And Pete Greggy, what was the number on Cam Champ?
I don't know, but he's 6 under through 15. He's your leader.
He is the leader right now. Novak and Lipsky at -5. Robbie Shelton and the Gim Reaper 40-1 at -4. And Højgaard as well at -4. Which is nice. And there's Tony Finau at -3, tied for 8th. Now, the guy that is screwing us right now is Pendy.
Yeah, Keith Mitchell's not helping me either.
Taylor, well, I'm just thinking because the partner parlay with that crazy number.
The 22-1 on the partner parlay, yeah.
We need him top 20.
Yes, we do.
And he was +2 so far, and that's frankly like right near the bottom. 2 over 73. So we're going to need a massive round with a lot of birdies from Pendrith tomorrow if he wants to get it in. I mean, Keith is even. That's not terrible.
Yeah, he came back. He's birdied, I think, 2 of his last 3 holes to kind of get back to even right now. So
that's big. That's big to not have as much. There's Brandon Wu's also at even. We talked about him yesterday in the Lock Shop. But there you have it. Both of the favorites up in the top 10 right now, as well as the Gim Reaper and Patty's pick of Cameron Champ. So
I can't not laugh when you say the Gim Reaper. Like, a guy named Doug Gim having such a cool nickname. It's just it's just good. Every single time you say it, I just got like this little sort of like childlike chuckle. Give a
shout out to Mayo and Feinberg for that one. Although I'm not sure whether that's where it was invented.
Like it was out there before, but yeah.
There. And I mean, the minute you hear a guy with an incredible nickname, it is our duty to continue to perpetrate.
He will never not be mentioned as the Gim Reaper. Like it has to be the case. Has to be the case. All right. Anything else on the golf, or you want to slide over to this NHL slate tonight?
Let's get to these games.
It's a big one.
This is a big slate of games tonight with a lot of really interesting matchups.
If you have any plays that you like, hit us up, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the Nasty Chat as well. I see Jake over there saying, do we want a Nasty Chat parlay tonight? Fire some of your favorite picks over there, so you can certainly do that. Also, I did have Big G. He hit us up in the Nasty Chat. He's also texted in here today, and he says, guys, how much is a sprinkle? LOL. So he hears us say sprinkle. So let's say you have a unit. Your unit is $10. Let's say you do $10 for a unit. Let's just use that as an easy round number. Hus, what's a sprinkle for you? Like $2.50? Like 0.25 a unit, half a unit? What are you sprinkling?
Yeah, I would say usually half or less. Like if I would normally put $50 on a game, I might put 15 or 20 on more of a long shot. Just something that, kind of maybe anywhere, I would say from 25 to 50% of what you would normally bet on just a single wager. And that's often what I'll do on parlays.
Yeah.
If I'm, or for instance, if you're betting $25 a game when you're betting your regular game, I would, if I'm saying, I'll just put a little sprinkle on that would usually say be 10. So I think 40%, somewhere between 25 and 50, but 40. But again, I mean, it is just basically a slang term we use for take a little bit off of it, but still want to have a piece of it.
You still want to get in on it. It's just a little sprinkle. Mark is in and says Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots. He's averaging 6.2 shots per game in his last 5 games. So you've got that one.
Did you just mention Jack Hughes?
Yes.
Okay, just one thing, and this is not betting related, but have you heard this this incredible internet story about Jack Hughes's fake girlfriend?
Okay. I'll tell you what I know, and then you can fill me in, because I thought I saw something pop up on TikTok or Instagram on the reels as I was scrolling the other day, and he was like backwards skating with a girl in front of him, but you couldn't see her. And was it his own account though that put that out?
No. That was okay. So this is how this girl got blown up.
Okay.
That is, I presume, his real girlfriend.
Okay.
And that was, you can bring people out for before the stadium series. They have a family skate or whatever, and he's still pretty young, so he brought his girl. But on TikTok, there was this girl, 27-year-old from New York, who, and I don't know how long the entire thing is, because I only got through the first one and then watched and then basically went to the internet for an update, a summary, if you will.
Okay.
Because this girl, if you have some time, go nuts and watch it. It is hilarious. But basically, she breaks down the story as how I found out my friend is a pathological liar. And this girl had been telling everyone that she met Jack Hughes and was dating Jack Hughes, and went so far as to create an account creating multiple Instagram accounts to follow her back, and then stealing photos from other things, utilizing Photoshop as well to put her in, to essentially stage to anyone that follows her that she is the girlfriend of Jack Hughes. And her spot got blown up when Hughes was skating around with that girl at the stadium series. And this girl that was doing it, she goes, listen, I'm from New York. I don't know anything about hockey. I'm more into Real Housewives and stuff, but I was always here for the tea. So I was into these stories. So she goes through in 7 different TikToks the entire story about this girl and the lengths that she went to convince people for whatever reason that she was dating Jack Hughes. And now she's had to block everybody and shut the account down and everything like that. So telling the truth, folks, is always important. And for folks that for some reason lie for no reason,
yeah,
sooner or later, you were gonna get your you're gonna get your spot blown up, and it'll be
Hus, was that wrong? Should she not have done that? Have you never not pretended to be somebody's a significant other for a good stretch?
I did have a good 3-year run on my Instagram saying that I was hot and heavy with Jeannie Bouchard, but then
nobody bought into it though, eh? Weird, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was a good run. No, but it was highly entertaining. I will say that if you're into that sort of gossip stuff and why people would do things, and this girl, like, she did not leave out a single detail. Like the first one, I'm thinking TikToks are like 30 seconds or 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And I heard there were 7 in a row. Well, the first one was 9.5 minutes. So it's almost, it's like a Netflix series. There's 7 episodes of it. It's on TikTok right now. And she goes through it all. So I was wondering if that had come across your eyes, because it was something that was quite fun. Speaking of the Devils, though.
Yeah.
This is a team, Dusty, that is in they're really in do or die time right now. You look at the wild card, and they are 4 points back of the Detroit Red Wings with even games played. I guess they are 5 points back of the Lightning with 2 games in hand, and they're 7 points back of Philly with 2 games in hand. But 5 and 7 points is a lot, and there's obviously no guarantee you win those games in hand. And we can't forget the Islanders, who are in a dead heat with New Jersey as well. And Pittsburgh, who's 4 back of them, but have 2 games in hand right now. I mean, we are getting there's less than 30 games left in the season. Like, for a team like Jersey that had so many high hopes, this is a team that has to start putting some wins together. But man, you look at the way they've gone so far this year. I mean, they have not put together 3 wins in a row since, well, remember when they lost to the Oilers 6-3?
Yeah,
how long
that
ago
was right before Christmas, I think.
Okay, right before Christmas. They won 3 in a row against Detroit, Columbus, and Ottawa after that. Since then, they have 2 2-game winning streaks, and that's it. And they have that great performance in the Stadium Series game against Philly, and then they follow that up as a big road favorite and get absolutely clobbered by the Washington Capitals. Like, I'm starting to just be out on New Jersey this year. And I guess they could get some goaltending in there. It's nice that Hughes is back. I know they've had some injury problems. They're a very slight favorite tonight against the New York Rangers. And I look at New York and what they're doing right now. I think, let's just make sure, they've won 8 in a row.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering, like, why. I just asked in the nasty chat. The Devils are favored in this game tonight.
They are an overvalued team this year based on, it was last year they won in the playoffs. Oh, like, okay, this is the young team. Like, there was a lot of people that thought that they would be right there at the top of the Eastern Conference, and it's like everyone is just waiting for that to happen.
Yeah,
and they have not fulfilled their side. Now, again, they have had some pretty significant injuries at times. I mean, they've been missing Heischer, they missed Jack Hughes. All of that is legit. But again, you're talking about winning 2 games in a row twice in 2024. They're in, if they want to be in a playoff spot, they have to get on a roll. But I will say this. I mean, the Rangers hate the Devils. They remember what happened last year in the playoffs. I'll be honest. I'm leaning towards the visitors as a very slight road dog at -105.
100% -105. I'm looking at it. It's not making sense to me why the Rangers are the slight underdog tonight against the New Jersey Devils. Like, the New York Rangers, you mentioned how well they've been playing lately. Just like the Rangers' last 8 games. 3-1 win over Dallas, pretty decent team. Beat the Islanders 6-5, Stadium Series. That one was in overtime. Put up 7 on the Habs. Shut out the Flames. Beat Chicago 4-3 in overtime. Beat Tampa 3-1. Beat Colorado 2-1 in overtime. Put up 7 on the Ottawa Senators. Like, they can beat you in so many different ways. I really like the Rangers tonight. Spency 5 cents, he says the Devils Rangers might be a good draw bet spot tonight if you want to try to bet this game going to overtime as well.
Listen, Spency, I think that is a very astute play. these teams do go to OT a lot. But for the Devils, I mean, honestly, and I'm sure the Rangers will be fine with that, if that is the case. I think I still take Rangers money line, just if that's what we're betting. Certainly, it's tough to put a draw into a parlay.
Mm.
And I mean, look, these goaltenders are unconfirmed right now, but Igor Shesterkin versus Nico Dawes.
I know Shesterkin hasn't been great this year, but still, I mean, you're going to side with him in this one, I think. And I saw somebody in the nasty chat say, well, the Rangers have been garbage on the road, but they're actually 17-9-3 on the road. The Devils are 13-13 at home. So the Rangers are better on the road than the Devils have been at home so far this season as well. Mark makes a good point. Dougie Hamilton gone is really hurting the New Jersey Devils. And that's a fair point. So I like the Rangers tonight, but it's a busy slate. I know the Nasty Chat's got a lot of good suggestions for the Nasty Chat parlay. I'm sure Jake will take care of that. What else do we like, Hus?
Yeah, we can go in there. By the way, shout out to Richard Croft. He said, thanks, Hus. I put 2 units on that Matthews bet yesterday.
Nice.
Nicely done. Just needed another shot on goal, but he did not get it done. I'll tell you what. Why don't we go through these starting goaltenders?
Yeah.
That's something we really
sure. I got him right here. I can hit him for you.
You got him right here. Okay,
I
give a run through, and we can kind of, folks, while you look at that, you can give us maybe your best bet just on a money line play once we get through these, and we'll put 3 together. And meanwhile, while you'll do that, I'm going to look at some of these props that everyone's firing out and seeing the ones that I like.
Charlie Lindgren is confirmed to start for the Capitals tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Capitals putting up 6 on the New Jersey Devils last time out. Vasilevsky likely right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tristan Jarry confirmed for the Penguins. They need this game in a bad way. Montreal Canadiens are going to go with Caden Primo. Dallas and Ottawa, it will be Jake Ottinger for the Stars. Anton Forsberg for the Ottawa Senators. Got to think about maybe a Dallas team total in that one against the Sens. Unconfirmed right now, Nico Dawes and Shesterkin, as Hus just mentioned. Bobrovsky will get the start for the Florida Panthers on the road against Carolina. Kochekov right now, unconfirmed. Justus Anunen for the Colorado Avalanche, listed as likely. Alex Lyon will start for the Detroit Red Wings. That one is confirmed. Bennington and Varlamov as the Islanders visit the St. Louis Blues. That is confirmed. Markstrom will start for the Calgary Flames tonight. Swayman played last night, so Allmark likely to go for the Bruins there. And unconfirmed in some later games right now, but Thatcher Demko, the Canucks, Joey Decord for the Kraken, Martin Jones for the Maple Leafs as they roll into Vegas to face Aiden Hill. Unconfirmed at this point for the Golden Knights. That's something I want to talk about, the Golden Knights here before we wrap today too. And then the Nashville Predators, UC Saros unconfirmed against Cam Talbot, unconfirmed, and the Los Angeles Kings. Those are your goalies tonight.
That Nashville LA game is really interesting. LA has been playing pretty well. And remember I said coming off that road trip, I wondered how they would show up against Columbus. Well, they played well. I still can't get over that Byfield goal from a couple nights ago.
It's just a beauty.
One of the absolute beauty. And there's a lot of people that said that guy was a bust last year. You got to have a little patience with these top picks. He's turned into just an absolute stud right now. But Nashville coming off that big win against Vegas.
2 in a row on the road here on this trip so far.
Yeah, ever since, and I know I said it was John Hines, ever since Andrew Brunette said, screw it. You guys aren't going to, you guys are not going to the Sphere to see U2. That trip is canceled. They listened to their coach. They bounced back with a big win. And the fact that they did it with Lankin in net, which means that they get Saros going against LA tonight. I will say this. I think Nashville's intriguing. It might be a little tough to put on a parlay. They are plus 126 tonight. The Kings have been great on the road this year, underwhelming at home. That is a game that
Kings have won 6 of their last 7. The only loss was the one that Jake called to be a win, and it was 7-0. That makes the worst pick of all time even worse. Yeah. It's the only Kings loss in the last 2.5 weeks. Sorry, Jake. I had to bring it up again. To bring it up
happens again. Happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. So right off the hop, I mean, we talked a little bit about the Rangers. Detroit at home against the Avalanche. Like the Avalanche would normally be, oh, this is a pick that you're normally going to jump on. The goaltender, what was the guy's name again?
Anunen. Justus Anunen. Anunen.
That is a tough one. I do think that the Canucks get the win tonight.
That was my cool bet hotline of the day, minus 129. It was at least minus 129 this morning.
Minus 124 now.
Yeah, minus 120. Wow. Minus 124 now against Seattle. The Canucks have dropped 3 in a row. I mean, I feel like Rick Tocchet gets that group back on. And I know we said the same thing, but Seattle is not Colorado. So.
Well, and you think about the 3 games that they've lost. I mean, the Jets game on Saturday was awesome. I mean, Scheifele's line just sort of took over in the third period, had a couple of beautiful goals. Hellebuck was amazing. I mean, but that was not a game that the Jets went and just completely outplayed Vancouver. And then, I mean, they blew a 3-goal lead and had, I mean, it was like Haley's Comet. They gave up 7 goals in the third period and gave up a 10 spot. And I thought came back and played a very, very good game against Colorado. To me, the Canucks are in just a different weight class than the Kraken are. And I know they've sort of got a good rivalry. I'm sure there'll be some fans of Vancouver down in Seattle to support the team. But I've got enough confidence in the Canucks, what they've done this year, Rick Tocchet, that they'll come out and get the win tonight. So I definitely like Vancouver at minus 124.
Like I mentioned, I also really like the Canucks. The Canucks and the Rangers were the 2 that sort of jumped off the page for me tonight. Maple Leafs, after Austin Matthews' heroics last night, going in to take on the Vegas Golden Knights. You see Mark Stone's going to be out for a longer period of time. I see Frank Saravalli tweeting out like, this now changes things for the Vegas Golden Knights, who could all of a sudden enter the Gensel sweepstakes. So here we go, Hus.
Golden Knights might be able to weaponize their LTIR space.
Somebody texted in.
Jack Eichel's on LTIR right now.
Cozy texted in earlier in the lock shop here and said, "Hey Dusty, what are the odds on Mark Stone coming back for Game 1 of the playoffs?" Him and Eichel.
Minus 2,000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would think that they'll get Eichel back before then.
Yeah.
You would think.
He probably could play before then, but I'll have to see how it sorts itself out.
Well, that's the other thing. Although the fact that the Kings are playing better right now, the Oilers have gotten right back into it. I mean, Vegas, I don't think wants to be a wild card. Although, I mean, if you drop the 4th and play, say, the Central Division winner, like, I don't think Vegas is really scared of anyone. Although the team that might freak them out the most is the Edmonton Oilers, who very well could be the 2-3 game that they would be their first spot. So,
they don't have to worry about the Oilers. After last night's game, people said there's 0 chance the Oilers get by Vegas in the playoffs. So don't worry about that, Hus. Edmonton's in a full-blown meltdown this morning, so don't have to worry about the Oilers.
Well, you got to mix in some saves. You're going to have better goaltending. I know Stewie Skins made some good ones at the end there, but that one that he let in was brutal. And my entire timeline immediately just went to, ugh, oh man, and the normal comments that you get after a tough goal. But like Vegas right now is going into this game tonight. Barbashev, Roy, Marchessault, Stevenson, Carlson, Paul Cotter, Brett Howden with Denisenko and Sheldon Rempel on their third line, Amadio, Keegan Colasar, and Mason Morelli as their fourth line. I mean, they're without Stone and Eichel and Carrier and Dorofeyev and Ben Hutton on the blue line. So, I mean, they're in a situation, and I mean, I'll give them credit for the games that they've actually won over this last little while. There's not a lot of teams that can miss players like Eichel to start, their number 1 center, and manage to stick around. But that is at the same time why you're getting different numbers. What is for whatever reason, when I pull up this Leafs,
I don't know. It looks like a bunch of puck lines, right? Is that what it looks like on your board? I don't know. Same thing on mine.
So that will change. Although Leafs playing last night in Arizona, Vegas, like I think that's a stay away game for me, anyways. Regardless,
I wouldn't touch that one. Here's a game that I don't mind, and I'm a in regulation guy. I love the in regulation bets. Dallas Stars in regulation in Ottawa tonight, -102. Dallas has lost 3 in a row, but they were to the Rangers, to the Bruins, and to the Oilers. So, I mean, I look at it and go, they're probably dying to get their hands on the Ottawa Senators. The Senators, and Ottinger's going to start tonight. The Sens have lost 3 of their last 4. Their one win was over Tampa. They lost to the Panthers in overtime. But prior to that, they dropped back-to-back games to Anaheim and Chicago. And now they get Dallas here. I don't know what the deal is with the Ottawa Senators this season. I just see a Dallas team that's lost 3 in a row against really good hockey teams, now getting a chance to sort of get out of that slide against an Ottawa Senators team that's lost to 2 of the worst 3 teams in the National Hockey League over the last week and a half. So I love Dallas in regulation tonight. If anybody's got a case against the Stars, I'm also curious to hear it. So text it in or hit us up in the nasty chat. What are your thoughts there, Hus?
Well, listen, I think Dallas is probably the play. The regulation does make me nervous, though, just because, like, Ottawa, I know they had those 2 terrible games. I mean, the game at home against Anaheim was a complete embarrassment. It fell off the rails. Then you follow that up with a 3-2 loss to the Hawks. But, they had won 4 in a row before that. And then they went in and played really well against Tampa and Florida in their last 2 games out. I mean, I don't know if you saw that goal Stützle scored against Florida, but he's kind of got his
mojo talent
back.
He's a talent for sure.
And that is one of the best teams in the league. So I think that, like, right now that team is being challenged to change their game to be able to compete more with these top teams. And I'll say this about Dallas, like, and we should check in. I know they've lost 3 in a row, but they've been against really good teams. I mean, they lost in an 8-round shootout to the They lost in an 8-round shootout to the Bruins on Monday.
Yeah.
They lost 3-1, I guess it was 2 nights ago to the Rangers, and they lost 4-3 to the Oilers, and that was an overtime game as well, if I'm not mistaken.
It was an overtime game on Saturday afternoon in Dallas. Yep.
And they won 7 of 8 before that. So, like, is this just a little blip, a little slump right now? I guess I'm a little higher on Ottawa. Like, I'm kind of coming back, and it does make me a little nervous that game could be, again, you're talking about teams in opposite conferences.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: if we like Dallas enough to put it into a parlay, the -164 money line isn't the worst thing in the world when we're going to get a boost anyway. But if you also view it as a stay away because of your thoughts on the Sens right now, I'm fine with that. We got 11 games to pick from, right? So there's lots of other places we can go.
Well, I mean, it is sort of a nice number. Do we have any thoughts on this Boston-Calgary game?
I was probably thinking stay away after the Bruins playing last night and not really having faith in Calgary in general. So I wasn't going to dive into that one, but do you have lean one way or the other?
Well, Boston is notoriously good on back-to-backs. I mean, they just seem to come back, and, like, they have 2 great
You're going to Ullmark tonight. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, they just sort of switch them up, but the reason why I'm maybe less in on Boston is that there is the possibility of a letdown when you're playing against a team that's out of the playoffs the day after a game that was an absolute roller coaster where your top players also had to play an extra 5 minutes or however long it went until McAvoy got in there. You know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we just throw the Stars money line on there?
Okay.
And we take the Rangers, we take the Stars, and we take the Canucks. It is 3 road favorites, or actually 2 road favorites. The Rangers are a slight underdog in this. But when we put it in, it's plus 468. So there's a good chance we could be looking at like plus 520, plus 525.
Yeah, we're definitely going over 5-1 once Jake gets his hands on it. So I'm good with that. Dallas, Rangers, Canucks, all on the road tonight. at plus 468 for your lock shop partner parlay today. And I wonder what the Anasties came to terms on. I know there was a bunch of good suggestions over there.
There was some, I'm just going back through the chat. Mark A, WST or Mark A, Jack Hughes over 3.5 shots. He's averaged 6.2 the last 5 games. And said Trocheck over 2.5 shots. He had 8 in his last game. Duck Dad, this is another interesting one. McKinnon fired 10 shots last game without scoring. He's only got 1 goal in his last 7 with 38 shots on net. Not sure whether we think about the goal prop for McKinnon or just the over on his shot prop. But when players like that are doing, what do we have here? Nate McKinnon over 4.5 shots minus 125. That is intriguing considering what was just said. Let's see here. Do we have a couple others? So Jake says Hughes 4+ shots, Trocheck 3, and a Heiskanen point. Oh yeah, the Heiskanen point was another good one. I think that was from was that from Richard, or he's got points in 3 straight. He plays tons. Marshall Caron, I saw that. I love that one. Ev Dog needs to get on an episode of the Hangout. He can talk some behind the curtain bookmaking. We should just bring him on the Lock Shop to talk about that. That would be on. You know what? We should do that on a slower day where there's not a lot to do. There's nothing I love more than talking to bookmakers about how things are made. It's so interesting, and I think for bettors too, it also gives you a really neat perspective in how the numbers get to be where they are. Jake, if you're still there, what was the one that we figured out? Anyways, I do like those ones, and I would be in on the McKinnon shots as well. And Earl James took McKinnon over 1.5 goals for plus 550. Ooh, we had a 2-goal banger last night. I may have to ride on that one, Earl. We got it with maybe I'll go with the maybe we'll take the insight from the chat to the play of the day today.
Oh, I did that last week actually once. I can't remember if it hit or not. I can't remember. It was a good week last week, but I can't remember if that hit.
I have it, but my 2024 plays of the day have been amazing up until this week. So I need a winner tonight.
Well, you were in Mexico last week. You're unfocused. You're going to get back. You're going to find that groove. You're going to find that groove for sure.
Well, tonight is that night when there's always, as they say, some tremendous information from the Sharps, from the Sharp Tank. Maybe that's what the chat is for the Lock Shop. The
Shark Tank. That's not a bad idea, actually.
Okay, here it is. So it's Jack Hughes 4 shots or more, Trocheck 3, and a Heiskanen point plus 385 and online. Chat, I will roll with you. And again, for our play, which I'm sure will be up in a bit, moneyline picks, Rangers, Canucks, Dallas Stars, and I think I might be with you. I might put a little sprinkle on a draw in that Rangers jersey game, and then maybe we can get really greedy and have the Rangers win an OT and win them both.
Find us in the D-Gen Den over on Discord. What's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, buddy?
What is coming up today? Mike McIntyre is going to jump on with us. Scotty Billick will have lots of Jets talk as they practice today. Apparently no Nikolai Ehlers today. We'll hopefully get something from that. We'll hear from Bones before the team heads on the plane this afternoon to Chicago to get ready for tomorrow. And also a former winner. We got a great program with Sport Manitoba where once a week we bring in some people that have been, heavily involved in other sports, promoting things like volunteering, reffing, officiating. But Chris Glowak, 2-time winner of the Manitoba Marathon, who's now legally blind, just went into the Hall of Fame. So we did that earlier this morning. It was a really, really fun conversation. So we'll have that a little later on. And we will also, as always, have an update on the Cool Bet lines and get into a little more discussion post lock shop on what we like tonight, and let the WSTers know what we cooked up in the lab today.
Excellent. You have a good show, buddy, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Right on. See you later.
There you go. That is Hus from Winnipeg Sports Talk. His show's coming up here in 5 minutes over on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel. Go over and give them a sub. And if you're watching our content right now and you haven't given us a sub yet, what are we even doing here? That would be great. I'm going to take a look at some NHL daily exclusives. We got 2 guys and a goalie coming out with myself, Cass, and Gager. I'm sure there'll be a full-blown meltdown from all of the viewers and listeners on 2 guys today after the Oilers fail to get the job done against the Boston Bruins last night. Here's what we got for exclusives over at coolbet.com right now. Someone roars, Canada scores. That'll be the Sens, the Habs, the Flames, the Canucks, the Leafs to combine for 18-plus goals tonight at plus 175. The Poppy Parlay. These Toronto guys, eh? Unbelievable. Austin Matthews to score 1 goal, record 5-plus shots, plus 250. Points from the point. It's Makar, it's Heiskanen, Hedman tonight at plus 285. The National Hughes League, Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes, Quinn Hughes, all to record a point at plus 350. Chalk it up, Avs, Stars, and Lightning all the win, plus 375. The Carb Load, Artemi Panarin and Pasternak. That's the bread man and pasta. Panarin, 2+ points. Pasternak to score, plus 385. The West Coast Wagon, Pedersen, 2 points. JT Miller with a point. Canucks win, plus 450. I don't hate that one, actually. I like that one. Shots. Braden Point, Pedersen, Malkin, all to record 3+, 485. Still got it. Ovi, Crosby, both to score a goal tonight, plus 525. Ovi's been going lately. He's got a little bit of a point streak rolling right now. Sid. And the Blue Nosers, McKinnon with a goal, Crosby with 2 points, and Brad Marchand with a point tonight down in Calgary. That is at plus 625. NBA returns tonight as well. If you want to hop in on the association, pretty big slate in the NBA tonight. Games of note. Pacers were just hosting the All-Star festivities. They're 12-point favorites at home against the Pistons. The Knicks and the 76ers. Knicks on the road, a 1-point dog rolling into Philly. The Toronto Raptors tonight at home, a 1.5-point favorite against the Brooklyn Nets. Total in that game set at 231. Suns and Mavs. That should be a fun one. Dallas at home, minus 122. The Celtics on the road, 8.5-point favorites at minus 112. Clippers and Thunder, huge game. Probably going to dabble in this one a little bit tonight. The Thunder, second in the conference, I believe. 1.5-point favorites at home against the Clippers. And the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors tonight. The Warriors at home, 6-point favorites tonight at home against the Lakers, who had been playing some pretty good ball heading into the All-Star break. Guys, what about Colorado, Detroit over 6.5? Annunen has given up 4 goals in 3 straight starts. That one in from Coach Mike. Yeah, I don't mind that. You know, Colorado's probably going to get theirs against Detroit. Over 6.5. Hey, drop it down to 5.5 and throw it into a parlay. Why not? I love doing that. I love dropping totals and throwing them into parlays. Partner parlay is up at plus 525. Which is exactly the number that Hus was suggesting a little bit earlier on. So, yes, our 2 parlays that are up there, Nasty Chat parlays plus 385. It's Jack Hughes, 4 shots, Trocheck, 3 shots, Heiskanen with a point. Lock Shot Partner parlay, 3 road teams, 3 good road teams. We'll see how it plays out tonight. Rangers, Stars, and Canucks all to win tonight at plus 525. You find all of those over at CoolBet. We got 2 guys and a goalie coming up. The Edmonton Oilers. What's up with Skinner? What's up the penalty kill? Why did Evander Kane not try to negate the icing in overtime last night? And why did Knobloch not call a timeout? And Austin Matthews. My goodness, 51 goals in 54 games. We'll get into that on 2 guys and a goalie today as well, right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. If you're listening on TuneIn or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you get a little dose of Whale and the Wolf, and we're going to be locked and loaded right away here on 2 guys and a goalie. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you turn on autoplay. You can slide on over and not miss a moment of 2 guys and a goalie. Thank you very much for joining us here on The Lock Shop today. Best of luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow on The Lock Shop.